When I get these going, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? But here we are. We are live, live, live. And hey, everyone, it's a comic book look. I'm not going to open the show up just yet because we have to do the mighty minute to win it. Tom, we have not seen you in a little bit. So how the heck are you? And what is our minute to win it today?
Well, guys, it's good to be back. I always like to say that, right? Because I only come in like every 2 weeks. So sorry about that. And didn't mean to leave you hanging here, Mark. My, number one homie over here, supposed to be, rocking with him every week. I'm never here, But no, don't worry, guys. I've been busy and I've had a lot of fun the last few weeks, and I still got a lot of comics, but I didn't even go. My minute to win it is, you know what? I didn't even go into Rainbow for 2 weeks and get Rainbow's my LCS. And you know what? That was brutal. And then I came in on a Sunday, and John Norson's like, Tom, what are you doing here? It's Sunday. And I was like, dude, I haven't been here for 2 Wednesdays. Ended up picking up some really good comics, though. Stoked on that. And then my dad was visiting someplace and cleaning out someplace, and then he gave me not that one, these ones. The Cartoon History of the Universe from 1978 comic book. I haven't really dug into them, but they're like cartoony, fun, 70s comic books, all about the history of the universe. So we got some nonfiction. Something I like in comic books is when we use the comic book format to teach and tell stories and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty dope.
I felt that same way, really, like when I jumped into Dark Avengers.
Exactly. It's the same kind of lessons you learn.
Mark's just like, stop.
Norman Osborn,
Shout out to Norman Osborn. Oh, man. All right. So great minute to win it, Tom. That was fantastic. I'm sorry I derailed it.
Let's start the show on the road.
Start the show. Before we start the show, Sunny D's checking in with us here from YouTube. Thank you so much, Sunny D, for tuning in. For all of your StarCraft 2 needs, streaming needs on Twitch, that is your boy. And Sunny D, I legit still have, and it's like filled with cards right now. I legit still have the mug. I designed the logo for him, and then he sent me the mug, which is amazing. So shout out to Sunny D. I still have the cup on my desk and represent, and it makes me happy. So, all right. Well, without further ado, let's open the show up. The best drum roll a guy can do on this poor glass desk that I promise you is going to shatter one of these days. Hey everybody, it's a comic book look. It's your boy John on Demand, aka the sensual comic book librarian, joined by co-host extraordinaire, the Midwest Highlander. There can only be one, except I now have almost a ponytail too, but Tom's is cooler, so that's fine. And he lived through Adrian Paul, who guested at SuperCon, and Tom's still here, so maybe Tom is the one.
Huh. Yeah, and hey, Adrian, I'm sorry for having to cut your head off. Maybe better luck next year.
Better luck next year. That's right. And of course, you guys, co-host extraordinaire, brother from another mother, great from another state. It's Mark, aka the Bacon and Boarding Bad Boy. Boom. Also, Mark, you've got to watch the replay on these last few episodes because the impressions that we've been doing of your voice have been fantastic with wrapping up the show. So it's pure fire. But you guys, we have a fourth face on the screen here, new to the show, and definitely a fantastic guest. Chad is in the building from the Omaha, Nebraska area here. Chad, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great. Awesome. I mean, it's comic book day. What else is better than that? I mean,
That's
really.
Right. Comic book Sabbath, baby. That's right. Take them to church. So with that, we with our guests, we always love to learn that quick origin story. So Chad, what got you going with comic books?
Wow.
How did you get started?
That's like the story of life, I guess, right there.
Isn't it, Chad? I mean, that's the way it is sometimes. We jump people right in here. We get to know, hey, what's your name, Chad? And we need that origin story. We're all comic book fans. What is a comic book that doesn't have an origin story? You jump right into the mix and you keep reading so you can find that origin story eventually. So, Chad, we have to have yours. We know that you are a superhero just like we are.
Well, let's see. So it started off in this universe far, far away.
Yes.
So, I want to say it was probably about 7 or 8. A buddy of mine, we were bored one day and his dad was like, hey, you want to go to Ground Zero in Bellevue? And I was like, okay, sure, let's go. I don't know much about comic books or anything. And we went there, and that's pretty much where it started. I was big into Web of Spider-Man. I was a massive fan of the black suit. So on my wall right now, I've got 252 graded 9.6 newsstand. I've got the Web of Spider-Man #1 graded on the wall. I've got a few others, but I've been trying to go through and collect all of the first appearances of the black suit, which was in that month. I've got 141 that I haven't gotten graded yet, but that will be soon. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much my origin story right there in a nutshell.
Love it. Jumped right in, got into Spider-Man. Are you still a Spider-Man collector to this day? Are you still picking up a Spider-Man book or two, or have you? And then when did you move away into other comics?
So, you know, in my lifetime, I went through, I went through puberty and stuff, and comic books kind of went to the side for a little while until I was probably in my mid 20s.
Yeah.
And, I had kids, and then I thought, hey, it's a great way to introduce them to it. And so I started collecting again at that point. So that'd probably be about 20 years ago. And from there, I started being more of a first appearance chaser. And I have always been from that point on. So even if it's new books, or going through and trying to add to my collection, I'm going to throw in a little tidbit right now. I think Fantastic Four is a big one for everybody to start grabbing up, especially those older ones with the scrolls. I think if you like to buy stuff to go with movies and shows, I think that's a great way to go. But I think a lot of that stuff's going to start shooting up in price because you can still find them for $3-4 an issue, and a lot of people are sleeping on them. And I mean, I'm okay with that. I'll buy them up, but that's the big thing that I probably have been pushing here lately is Fantastic Four. But yeah, definitely a first appearance chaser.
That's cool. It's you bring up a good topic here, and I think we've all kind of seen it, So for me, I personally read more for like the characters and stuff. I don't follow creators as much as maybe I should. I'm trying to get better at that, and I have a man crush on Jeff Lemire's writing. But I will say that I've had instances like that too, where you almost are kind of surprised a little bit of how the heck are there like 15 copies of this still on the wall, right? And it's like a bomb publication. And you've seen a lot of buzz online, but maybe it's not reflected locally. I have that same impression too. When I leave South Dakota and I come to Nebraska, it is, in some cases with some titles, it is a different reality. Different communities buzz off of different vibes of books. And that's a fact. Even between the two Rainbows, when I go to Rainbow Comics Lincoln, they're like, oh yeah, we have like 18 copies of this. And we're like, dude, we've been out. We can't even order it. Can I maybe transfer some inventory out here and get them back up to our store because we'll move them, and it's so crazy. Yeah. That's interesting.
With me doing conventions, I travel all over the Midwest. I was just up there recently doing the SuperCon, and I go to Des Moines, Kansas City, like this coming weekend. I'll be going to Kansas City to KC Collectible Expo. If anybody wants to go to KC this weekend, it's a nice little show, but it's just crazy how when I go from city to city, even though you're only maybe 2 hours away or 2.5 hours away, how drastic the clientele is on what they're trying to pick up. And I think that's probably my challenge is going through and what do I bring? I bring a lot of first appearances because that's what I like to collect. So I think sometimes that's what other people like to collect too, but trying to go through and do the big stuff. Recently, like Aquaman #11, where it's the first appearance of Mira, right? So it's old school, but there's still people chasing that kind of stuff. But just trying to, it is so weird. Like I'll take books and it's like, why did that sell? but this didn't. I
You're
just
happy
don't.
to see it go, but question mark.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so weird, but it is interesting.
Yep. No, heck yeah. And really quick here, just to lift up a couple of things. I have a visual aid here, just to kind of recap. How did John and Chad meet, right?
Yes,
And
let me hear
so
this.
this
Let me
is
hear this story.
this is by far the best moment ever. So Maria Wolf and I paid a visit to Ground Zero Hobby Ralston. All right. And Chad was working that day. It turns out this is actually Chad's last day as a formal part-timer at Ground Zero Hobby, because he's since taken on a new job and is focusing on his comic book business. So he still has his pull list with Ground Zero. So he's still hitting the comic shop each week. He's going to Comic Book Sabbath and supporting his LCS.
Exactly.
But this day was extra fun because Maria likes to play a game with unsuspecting comic shop staff. So she told me, shut your mouth. We're going into the shop and just watch me do my thing. So we march in, and Maria goes up to the cashier, which was Sam, not pictured. Sam was the one that took the photo, and asked her, hey, do you have any of those Maria Wolf variant covers? And Sam's like, oh yeah, let's check this out really quick. To Sam's credit, Sam actually caught on way quicker. We did the same thing at Krypton Comics, and they were great sports about it after the fact. But Sam literally Googled Maria Wolf and then saw a picture, and of course Maria's right there. So about 3 minutes in, she was like, "Are you Maria Wolf?" And Maria's like, "Yes." And it was just so funny because Maria throws hints into her conversation, like, I take whatever covers Marvel sends my way, to do work on things like that. Like, she would say these things in the first person because it's true. And people would sometimes be like, okay, like not sure how to process it. And then finally they're like, oh dude, this is totally Maria talking to me. This is awesome. So Sam was a great sport about it. And for Chad here, Chad was actually helping some Magic the Gathering customers, I believe. So he wasn't even like in this conversation up until like the tail end, and then I saw, Chad, that you had a chance to visit with her for a little bit, which was really cool. So she loved your shop and she loved meeting you. Yep.
Yeah, she was awesome. Hands down, if you ever see her at a show, you have to stop and talk to her. Her art's amazing anyways. I actually, sitting next to me, I have a few of the books that she signed for me. So yeah, she's awesome. And I think even at the show, I was able to sit down and talk to her for another 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. No, just such a good person. And then I didn't even know this, you guys, but when I met Chad, just right in the same spot, he's like, yeah, I'm going to SuperCon. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm on staff there. I'll see you there in a couple days. So, because this would have been Thursday before?
Wednesday.
I think so. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, we flew in, and then I went and picked her up. Yep. So it would have been Wednesday because we were gotcha, on our way to Lincoln. So that was a hoot though, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Ground Zero Hobby in Ralston, and there's another location in Bellevue. Is it just those two locations then in the Omaha area? Is that correct?
Yeah, and they're owned by the same guy.
Okay.
And I feel like it's like this hidden gem.
Yep.
They have, I would say, 95% of their back issue stuff is all 50% off.
Mm-hmm.
Great place to go and dig and find to place things, and for like your holes and stuff in your collection, or finding that diamond in the rough. It definitely has a lot of cool stuff, and I highly recommend, if you're ever there in Omaha, to stop by.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you have only worked at the Ralston location, but not at the Bellevue store, but you have shopped at the Bellevue store. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. The Bellevue store is special to me because that's my first LCS ever. However, I did not buy a comic while I was there. Instead, I purchased, I was into those X-Men 94, 95 cards. And oh man, like whenever I would get my mitts on some of those, that just made my day. So that was, we were Air Force, and so we ended up moving after that. So I was only there up until the end of my 4th grade year. So I was only shopping at Ground Zero, like real intermittently, for like a year and a half, I think. But it was always just such a joy to go there, and just every time I walked in, I remember that magic, and so when we see kiddos walk in at Rainbow, it's so fun to see the reaction of whoa, like this is cool. And so yeah, I definitely dig that, and I love the vibe of the Ralston store. I actually try to make that part of my Omaha trip when I come down to see my folks in Lincoln. So you guys are a good squad.
Man, I'll have to check that out for sure. I was just in Lincoln last Thursday. I definitely should have stopped. My bad.
Did you go to Rainbow?
No, I just went to a concert. So I went to the Bourbon Theater.
Yeah.
Rocked it out.
Yeah.
Came back to Sioux Falls.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So you just hit the road. Gotcha.
But I was there early enough. I should have. Instead, we just went to dinner and kind of just hung out.
Eat though, come on.
Yeah,
Lincoln's a cool place to hang out, especially downtown.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah. Well, heck yeah. Well, Chad, circling back really quick here, you had mentioned the fact that you had tabled at SuperCon. So the picture that I was showing just now is actually from your business, which is Megs and Nito Comics. Is that right?
That is correct.
Cool. So how long have you been doing that? What got you into that? And tell us about that.
Well, that's kind of a long story, but we can shorten it down. I was working many hours at my job. I was a supervisor, managed multiple warehouses. So it was long days, like 60, 65 hours a week. I just was getting burnt out. And talking with the girlfriend, we made a decision. Let's do it. Because I had been doing eBay for a couple years, because I worked for PayPal for many years, for like 9 years before. And I was very familiar with eBay. I've done a little bit here and there throughout the years. And so for about a year prior to that, I was selling maybe 10, 15 items a month, nothing big, but a little extra cash. I mean, everything we made, we used for vacations. So it's like, hey, let's go to Kansas City. Let's go to Sioux Falls. And that's legit. We went up to Rainbow, probably a half dozen times, and we loved going to that store. We stayed up there many times, and then from here, it's like a 2.5 hour drive. So there's many times that we just drove up there, hung out, ate at a couple local places, and then just came back home that day. But it helped going through and paying for that, $200-300 a month, not a big deal. And so we just started thinking about it and said, let's do it. Let's jump in. I had a little bit of money saved up, and that was pretty much it. I put my 2 weeks in, started doing the business. I got an office, and then the rest was history. I did it for 2 years. And, I feel like things have really started slowing down. Obviously, with a lot of things going on with, buying groceries and stuff has gone up so much and everything, and buy the extra stuff. And so I've seen it over the last 6 months, probably, or at least 8 months, that's really starting to slow down. And so I had to make that hard decision and say, let's go through and get me a full-time job again, and then I'll just do the business on the side. So I still do the conventions, like I'm going to one this weekend, and I have one next month as well. And then I'll start back up next year. I'll take the winter off, and then, but not doing it full time has made it to where I have that little bit of flexibility where I'm not having to do a show once a month or twice a month to bring in the money.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's so interesting, Chad. I love hearing this, right? It's just so cool to be able to work in the comic book industry, right? We're all comic book fans. You get you're looking out clearly for what can potentially you can find, or what you can get a hold of, who, using every contact that you have, looking at these different lots that could potentially sell with, stuff that you can turn around, hoping that the quality is there, being able to possibly slab some and get them. And that's such a fun, exciting existence, right? Because you're right in there, you're right in the world of the comic book industry of, you're not the editing, the publishing, the artist and thing like that. It's the whole other side that allows all of these artists and editors to exist, is because of this side that you're in, Chad. And so I think that's extremely interesting because, it is so important to our industry to have these comics have potential value, make sure that if we're buying 1,000 comics, well, guess what? There's probably 8 of those comics could have the potential to go on beyond what we originally have. And, in turn, that allows us to kind of like play this fun gambling game in our minds. And, it's exciting to be a part of that, but that's all on the same edge. It's just like, I salute you, Chad, because that's got to be a stressful job as well. You're constantly like, can I keep finding these, comics from the 70s? Like you said, Fantastic Fours potentially could hit, especially depending on how big these new movies that are coming out are. Skrulls is supposed to be where the entire line goes. So is that going to have a big effect on it? I mean, I have massively long Fantastic Four runs, so I really hope that it does. That would be excellent for me. But on the other hand, I just don't have that same time to put in and go through this huge stack of comics that I have all over and go and find these and make sure they're pressed properly and make sure that, they're in a sellable format. And then in turn, they're sitting here, right? And so in my mind, I think, I could potentially do something with this one day. In turn, though, I really do just sit on it because it takes time and a lot of time. So I can totally understand, like, yeah, you do have to have a full-time job because it's so stressful. How are you going to run with the market? But then, it's like, if you have more time to dedicate to doing this, you will definitely be able to get more money out of the system as well.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's just so interesting. I love hearing this story of coming about. And then, I'm sure, how do you weigh convention, for costs of going to convention compared to what you could potentially get out of it? Is that something that plays a factor when you go?
It does. And that's a really good question. Well, kind of like asking what to look into, because I failed many times doing it. It is very much a trial and error. There are shows that I went to that, you try doing all your research. You can only find so much information online, and, you get onto different Facebook groups and you get into these conventions that, you see maybe 1,000 people like the page. And so now you're starting to ask, okay, you have to ask the promoter, hey, what kind of traffic do you see? And sometimes these promoters don't want to tell you. And I understand why, but for somebody like myself, if I travel 3 hours to do the show, I need to make sure that if I'm paying X amount for a booth, I'm going to make enough to pay for my expenses plus be able to pay my bills after, because that's my only source of income. And that's, I think, where the juggle is going through and doing your research. You almost have to fail unless if you get in with somebody that has been doing it for a while in the area and they can go through and help you. I had some vendors from Kansas City that started following me on my Facebook page, seeing all the different shows I was going to. And they had reached out to me and started asking me questions. And it was interesting because when I was at the show, they were actually the booth next to me. And they came up to me and said, hey, we've been following you for the last 6 months. We learned how to do this from watching you do this and everything on your Facebook page, which is great. And I would love to go down that path and start educating people and helping them through trying to, even if it's a part-time job for you or just a gig, it it's fun, it's enjoying, it's very tiring though. A lot of people do not understand how much effort you've got to put in the, like you were talking about, going through and pressing and finding the stuff that needs to be graded. My big tip is you have to be collector first. When you're trying to sell to other collectors, you can't just be a business person and go, I can buy this box, I can sell it for X amount, because your customers are going to know that. And when you have good local comic book shops like Rainbow, for instance, they go through and you go up and ask them questions. They're very educated on what you're looking for, or they know their inventory well. And they're not just bringing in, you know, a 1.0 for a book that is only 5 years old, and that's where I think some people don't understand. And it's very important for you to look at it from a collector perspective. And that's what I've always done. I'm not going to sell you a book if I don't think that it's going to be worth you purchasing as a collector. And it goes with shipping on eBay. I sell a lot on eBay, and I ship everything with Gemini boxes.
Mhm.
It drives me up the wall. I could go on a rant for 20 minutes on it, but a lot of people will ship just in a bubble mailer. I mean, you guys probably have received them buying, like you're trying to find that one book that
Yeah.
you can't find locally, and all of a sudden it shows up in your mailbox and it's bent. And I mean, that's like makes you sick,
Oh yeah,
It's
I mean,
just,
I could probably like look around and just find a bunch of packaging just like that. I mean, that's like happens a lot, to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like here's one I got. Thank
Oh,
you.
oh,
This is
that's
oh,
rough. That
so.
that makes me sick.
oh, oh
But
man.
yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about, and
Wow.
I've had a lot of buyers, or I've bought different lots and different things where someone's very clearly telling me it's one thing, and then I get it and there's literally like dried food on the cover, and
Mhm.
they're like bagged and board, and then there's one bag and it's 6 books and
Yeah.
one board, and just I don't know, there's just it's can be very funny, the game of eBay. If you're not actually looking, or you're taking a chance on somebody who's only bought or sold 2 items or something like that. And
Yep.
I've been burned. And it's like, you have to learn from that to be like, I don't buy from sellers that have only sold 10 items or 20 items. It's like, I need to see that you've sold something before and had some positivity to trust you. Yeah, I think that's, and it's great. I mean, John knows exactly what you're talking about. His husband that's what he does also, is just working that eBay, nonstop, trying to find those trends, finding those deals, what can be hot, what can be not. Because it is, sometimes I'll have an item that's maybe very obscure, and I'll go to like check sold listings on eBay, and it's like, oh, this thing sold for $185, and then I'll look and be like, oh, but it only sold for like 75 4 weeks before that, and then like 2 weeks before that it sold for like 60. And it's like
Yep.
very strange how some of those things can work. And mitigating all that is kind of fun.
It is, and that's where a lot of your research comes to. When you're trying to find that diamond in the rough, which they're out there, and I know it's great for collectors too, or it's great for people that want to go through, and because for a while there, I'll be honest, I flipped books so I could pay for my hobby.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So if I'm going through collections or going through a store, and let's say I find 5 books and 4 of those are ones I want, but one isn't, but I know I can definitely sell it for double the price. When I go and sell that, I get that money. I just turn around and reinvest it back into my collection.
Yeah.
I know some people kind of aren't big on that, but I look at it, whatever can get me ahead to get my collection that I want for my hobby, and if I don't have all the money to do it, there's other ways of being able to do it to go through. But again, you have to do your research, you have to do it correctly. Shipping is a major thing in it. And yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, and if all else, you can just start selling drugs, because that's always,
yep,
on the market. Always, people are always looking.
I hear it's not great at the bottom. If you're the seller, I think you have to be way up
some
on the
sad
top.
stories. I don't know, but I'm just saying, always a backup, right, John? Right, Mark?
I'm the most.
I mean, I don't know anything about that,
dude. If you mention drugs in front of John and Mark, they both start to get scared. So they're not drug guys,
Oh my
just
goodness.
kidding. I'm just trying to lighten up the whole thing. Mark, you falling asleep over there? What, buddy?
No, man, I'm good. I'm just listening, taking it all in.
Love it, dude. Love it.
P.S. Mark, I am loving your shirt. That Halloween
appreciate
Comic Fest. Oh
Yeah,
man,
Wish we still had that this year.
Right?
Mark,
Actually,
I'm also loving your Instagram posts. You keeping us in that holiday spirit this month. So
yeah, you're doing a really good job.
Appreciating that.
It's Mark, with that, it's close. With you're watching some great films, but nothing is topping that. I went to see Barbie tweet. Nothing. I wish I had it like saved so I could just pull it up randomly each show and just be like nothing tops that. What was I gonna say though? I had something else. Never mind.
Oh, John, it'll come back to you. Don't worry.
Yeah, at like 10 o'clock tonight. I'll be like,
yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, Chad, it's awesome. I love hearing stories like this. I love to, meeting you and getting to hear your story and hearing about that world. That's such a world that's alluring to a lot of different comic book people, as you were just before you did this. So,
yep.
Very cool to hear. I say we start talking about some of the books we got, man. It's New Comic Book Wednesday, man. Sabbath.
I don't even know what I want to talk about yet, so someone else has to go first.
I will go first.
Okay.
So of course, a comic. I said in Minute to Win It. It's been a little bit since I've been there. Was able to pick up a bunch of new books. I even took a chance on a Marvel. It looked like a Marvel event. Anybody reading this, Mark or John? You guys?
I have it. I have not read it yet.
I saw it, but I didn't pick it up.
I mean, I feel like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through it, but I'm gonna give it a shot.
Let's give it a go.
I was on the fence about that one.
Yeah, and then I asked John Nordstrom about it. My comic book sensei, and he was like, "Lots of words, Tom. That's gonna be a long one. Might need to get a bookmark out when you're reading that one." So I thought that was really, really funny. But the cool one I got today was also this Boris Karloff. It's like a Kickstarter book, and it was Gold Key. I'm down with those old Gold Key books. Come on, man. So many good ones. Well, I thought it was going to be maybe reprints, old stuff. No, dude, this is freaking a new stuff with all new art. And has like a really dynamic art style and stuff like that. And in 3 different artists with 3 different stories kind of in this horror aspect. Has like really crazy, art, indie art, or cartoony art as well. That's like almost like Jim Mahfood or, it's just really cool. That Acuna guy, something along those lines. But all people that are new to me. I'm sure a lot of people have seen these artists, but I have not. So yeah, the artists of Artem Trakhanov, Kelly Williams, and Jacques, man, love you guys. It's like all 3 of these crushed. I guess this was a Kickstarter book, and it was like successfully done and put out and sent out a while ago, and then now like a one through Diamond has came out. But dude, I would totally worth checking out. And Mark, if you didn't get this, definitely worth one of your October books that you can do. So cool. It's like 3 spooky stories.
Very cool.
So that's what I got, boys.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Chad, what you got?
Okay, so I went through and picked up. I'm a big fan of Chrissy Zullo.
Oh, sure. Yes, Birds of Prey Halloween
And
cover.
so, yeah.
Very
So
cool.
I thought that was really cool. And
Cool.
that was the only Halloween one I picked up this go round.
Hmm.
I really wanted the Batman one.
Yeah.
And I might go back tomorrow and get it.
Yeah.
But the Ninja Turtles Halloween special I picked
So
up.
cool.
I
Heck yeah.
really wanted. I wanted the other cover though, the one that you see. I think it's Raphael, and it's the. I'm trying to remember what kind of art that is. It's a different. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Was it the Day of the Dead one?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what it is.
it had
I
Day of the
couldn't find
Dead
it.
like stuff all over. Yeah, I saw one come up to the register today, and I was like, "That's fantastic."
Yeah, and
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one. Sweet.
one other book, and now this one I'm excited to read.
Oh yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a big Black Label fan.
Mm.
I'm not. I like Marvel. I like DC. I like them both a lot. I'm not one or the other. But when it comes to the Black Label stuff, I really enjoy reading those stories.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Court of Owls
DC
in
is
that
always-
book?
What's that?
Isn't the Court of Owls in that book? That Batman book?
I believe so. I haven't even opened it yet. I literally got off work. I ran straight to the local comic book shop, grabbed my pull list, and then I got home and enough time for me to sit down and
Right.
Boom.
and get things going. So I haven't even gotten to, I've got much more over here but yeah, I just wanted to showcase those. I thought
No,
were
those are
really
some
cool.
great picks, Chad. I love it, man.
Heck yeah. I'll jump in really quick here. So we have a local online comic book vendor, JJ's Comics and Art. And he actually did a partnership with Maria Wolf, and so I treated myself to a set of the Transformers #1 Soundwave. So I got that, the Virgin, and of course, I like my bling, so I got the foil of that. And I'm really excited next time I see Maria to have her sign these. I think Soundwave is an incredible character. I was so excited about this. And so that was amazing. For those of you that are interested in that, for Rainbow Comics customers, we do have them at the store. They are individually priced, foil, the Virgin cover, and then the normal. Otherwise, you can also go to jjscomicsart.com and check out there, because he will have the sets available as well as a bundle of the normal and then the Virgin cover too on there. So that is another option. And I wanted to lift up one more just because it's Halloween and why not? And I'm going to actually go with this. Really excited about this. Chilling Adventures presents Welcome to Riverdale. I made a couple of horror comic playlists where I sat there for about 4.5 to 5 hours and crushed like 40 comics. And it was the most rewarding thing ever. Archie horror books have been that secret, like I never saw it coming. And I loved it issue after issue. These one-shots, the Cult of the Wilkinson Boy.
So good.
Jughead the Hunger, all this stuff.
So
and the
good.
main thing about it is that Archie, you think it's gonna be campy and all that. There's some good dark stuff in here in a fun way. And my favorite part about these is that darn editor's letter at the end of the issue. I read it every single time because the editor will lift up why the creative team was chosen for this project, and often it will reference like, oh, they worked on this thing 2 years ago or whatever, and so there's a lot of lifting up of other people, and I love the creative team's culture, and it shows in the quality of work in this book, and I absolutely just adore this imprint. So anything Archie horror. For Rainbow Comics customers, I put 2 big old signs on the 2 boxes on the Kindle end cap where those live. Check them out. They're fantastic.
Oh man, I mean, I love those. You're totally right. Franco Francavilla started doing those covers maybe 5 years ago, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, once those started popping off, it was like you knew that when those Archie horror comics come out, it's like you pick them up, man, because they're all good. So yeah, I love to see that, John. What a great thing to lift up. That's so fun, man.
So that is my soapbox.
I am going to add that to my list now.
Mark, what do you got, baby?
Oh man, Garbage Pail Kids.
Yes,
Mark's
Mark's favorite.
I'm a true 80s kid. I've not read this yet, but I've read like all the Mad Balls crossover with Garbage Pail Kids. And the last time the Garbage Pail Kids had like a superhero squad, I think this is like a continuation of that. So anything Garbage Pail Kids, I'm going to be picking up for sure. You can count on that.
Love it, man.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
All right, Tom, what you got?
All right. So I was showing, what I got, but I love Rainbow, obviously, went there, but there's a new place in town that I heard had Silver Sprocket comics specifically. So in Sioux Falls, and that was this art store, which it has an art gallery, and it's called Rose and Eugene's.
Cool.
So I went to Rose and Eugene's downtown. It was such a cool experience. There was a dog in the store that was like the cutest dog ever. Then they pointed out, they were like, hey, what brings you in? Because I was the only one there. I was like, hey, I heard you guys had Silver Sprocket comics, and I'm a big Silver Sprocket fan. So I was able to get a couple books. I have Everything Sucks, the issue that I wasn't able to get before, such a good issue. I got Good Boy magazine. I don't know if this is the second one. I don't know if you've read the first one. It's a bunch of different. It's an anthology of a bunch of different indie creators. And then of course I got, which is behind my shoulder, Poo Poo PP 69, because they had it as well on Saturday. So I had to scoop it up because Carolyn Cash, one of my favorite comic creators, putting out a comic that's called Poo Poo PP 69. So funny. And it's even better than Poo Poo PP 420, which had already been released. And this one, so I get in there to the comic shop today, and Amanda goes, Tom, I got Poo Poo PP 69 for you. I was like, hell yeah, I'd have no problem buying both. Checked it, and so the one I got from Rose and Eugene's was the fourth printing of this. And the one I got from Rainbow was the third printing of it. So, I have no problem. Got a couple different printings from it.
Yeah.
And, this, I do think that she will end up being a extremely famous creator, along the levels of I don't know, all the indie guys that go to New York, sell on New York Times and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really fun to get in on her entry level stuff when she's still being super, super funny before she's put out her prolific stuff that I do feel will be coming later. So you guys should check her out. Carolyn Cash, Poo Poo PP. Very, very funny and fun. And if you're in Sioux Falls, check out Rose and Eugene's.
Yeah, heck yeah. That's awesome. All right. Chad, you got another book you want to boost up?
Sure. Let's see what else I got here. All right. So I got to throw out this really cool.
Oh, nice.
The homage of the 300 issue.
Yeah.
That one, I just bought it because of the cover. I like the 300 cover. But one that I'm really excited to start reading is the Dark Droids. I am buying all of them up to be able to start, here soon, to sit down, and then I'm one that likes to buy 3 or 4 of them before I start reading it, because I don't feel like it's enough for me to sit down and read the first issue, and then it's like, yeah, I gotta wait now.
Yeah.
And it's just so I don't know, it's a letdown when I do that. So I always go through and wait until I get 3 or 4 issues before I sit down and really go through them. But I am excited for that series to get started on it, which is fairly soon, because there's already with all the crossovers and stuff, I think it's somewhere around 6 or 7 books out already. But yeah,
awesome. I feel like that's right up John's alley. Dark Droids. So
I do like my evil droids. I love BT0 and triple BT1 and 000. Excuse me. They're my favorite. The homicidal droids. And Chad, I'll show you this. These boys are really sick of seeing these, but I literally have custom painted droids from Dr. Aphra.
Oh, nice. Those are cool.
They are with me all the time, glaring at me intensely as I review comics. So yeah,
I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I'm even wearing a shirt.
Yes.
Not today. Yes. Oh, it was. Yeah, that's what happened in the movie. There was no explosion. It was just being lazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think my shirt collection, half of them are at least Star Wars. The other half is Marvel. I got a couple of DCs, and then I have nice shirts for work. So
yeah, there you go. John, you got another book to lift up, Doc?
I do. And I'm gonna just kind of do it up this way, I guess. Shout out to Awesome Reprints with cool branding on it, aka the Werewolf by Night logo. So really excited about this. It's a shame I literally won't be able to read this though, because all of these issues are part of my other stream, which I'll talk about at the end of the show. So reading this would literally be shooting myself in the foot and making me reread something in the future that I've already read. But what I did want to lift up is I got some more cool ammo for that other stream. And so I picked up Dead of Night issues 3 and 5 as I continue to chip away at my pull box of Doom, which is a huge tidal wave right now because these are not cheap comics. And so I can only get just a couple at a time. But I'm just really gearing up for the next couple of weeks for my other project that I'm doing. So, yeah.
Mark, what do you got, dog?
Creep Show Volume 2. This is issue number 2, keeping it in that Halloween spirit. Love that right there. I've not read the issue 1 to Volume 2, but I read all of Volume 1. It's phenomenal. So heck yeah, man. So really stoked to get back into those.
I'm glad to see you guys are both picking that up. Well, I mean, we are approaching on 50 minutes, John, and I know that we all got to talk about a few different things. Yep. John, you got to show us a couple horror books, and I had a blast hanging out last night on my couch, throwing up on the big TV, my 65-inch OLED, looking bright and beautiful, my number one homie, Johnny Runyon, and coming in with his new stream. If you guys didn't check it out, you have to check it out next week. It was an absolute blast, John. So, I think we should transition right into it and lift this thing up and talk about it. We've been, preparing a little bit for, giving people teasers, but it's here now. So, I'd love to hear how you came up with this stream, John. Where the plan kind of came from. And then really, maybe not even Mark knows how much preparation that you've really done to get ready for this stream. And I think a lot of people don't know that, right? But it is a big thing that you have taken on. And, guys, I have been thinking about this stream myself for almost a year because I've been so excited for it, and John has been working. So without, John, I would love to hear a little bit about Comics by Night, the hottest new fucking stream on the goddamn market right now. You know what I mean?
It's all right. So Comics by Night, we just launched it last night, you guys. And when I say we just launched it, to Tom's point, there was a heavy lift here. All right. So first of all, This all started in conversation where I was just kind of thinking about all these characters that I'm loving, like Morbius, Ghost Rider, and I'm like, there's so much history to these characters going back decades, right? And I was like, I kind of want to do a show to celebrate it. And I'm a total outsider to the horror community, so I don't know movies, I don't get into celebrity guest, all that stuff. Like, to me, I'm a complete outsider to it. I love a good series of scary movies that has a good story to it, mythos to it, like a Freddy or something that has that rich history, and if it has a great story, I'll watch it. I love it, so this eventually ended up to me talking with John, so Comic Book Sensei John, my manager at Rainbow Comics, and then a slew of different customers that were also into the same things. PS shout out to, we have one customer, Pat, who is a good friend of John's, and I'd gotten to know him. Pat unfortunately passed away before, prior to, me launching the stream. And so I gave him just huge credit on that opening couple of minutes there, just because Pat was a really big supporter and cheerleader and encourager to say, yeah, check out these titles. And he kept giving me little tidbits of, hey, look into this series, look into that series. And I jokingly call him and John like my enablers. but it really was just exploring all these different doorways because Marvel Comics had a ton of them, right? I just read Tower of Shadows numbers 1 and 2 yesterday, and in the back of this book, there's another side series coming out for Chamber of Darkness, which I have collected those. But there's so many of those side series out there that unless you're aware of them, you're always finding out new things, and it's crazy. And for a while, when I was power collecting, I have 7 short boxes and a long box of horror comics for the show ready to go. So I'm doing 2 books a week. And when I was collecting it, I was even getting down into cameos, right, of people appearing in different issues. And one of my good friends, Sean, was like, bro, stop. You'll get to that. You'll get to that. Get through your series first and give your wallet a breather. Because I mean, I was going boom, boom, boom. I would go to Ground Zero. I would go to Krypton, you know, whenever I would travel, go to these other shops and round out where I could. And so bottom line is this, is that the stream itself it's really weird not having the band with me. So because you guys all lift me up and it's a true conversation. When you do a stream by yourself, it is the most awkward thing ever. And last night's episode was actually a lot of fun because these books delighted me so much. And that's what I was pleasantly surprised about. So this whole thing was
were laughing out loud at times, you know, like you would be saying something, go to a page, and then you would get a real cackle, a real laugh. Like you could tell you were all the way into the book and that you read the book and understood the book and what every page was. And it was just like so fun following along with you and seeing you enjoy that so much.
Yeah. And so it was really interesting. Shout out to Blair here. I see you. You did a great job. It was amazing. Blair was just in the shop tonight, and so I had asked them, you know, do you have a chance to check out the show? So thank you, Blair, for tuning in tonight too. It's so important to enjoy what we're reading and what we're doing, and so that's why I like shows like this where we have that community and we just get to hang out and talk about things that we like. And we also get to learn from one another. And Chad, I can't tell you how many times these guys have given me recommendations. And so, another rabbit hole. Here we go, another one. You know, and so that's what I like. But on the flip side, I've been pleasantly surprised by the reception of Comics by Night and the opportunity to network with other people interested in different facets of horror. I already have an interview lined up this weekend with the Sioux Falls Sanderson sisters, which they dress up as the sisters from Hocus Pocus. And so we're doing a 3-hour photo op at Rainbow Comics, followed by drinks at Glacial Lakes Distillery, so spooky cocktails, and learning all about them while we're all hanging out. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And that'll be on the Comics by Night channel too. But to answer your question about prep work, over my shoulder here is one of 2 floral arrangements that I made. That was actually on the dinner table scene. I actually am kind of curious. You guys want me to? You guys got time? Can I play the video?
You gotta play it.
It's like a minute and some change. Chad, you good? All right.
Yeah,
I gotta flip branding really quick here. So we're literally going onto the set of Comics by Night right now. Ooh. But
spooky, I'm too scared, John.
These videos are amazing. So I tell you what, I will do just the dinner party one, and I will not move my mouse this time. All right. Man, yeah. So that's like
awesome.
The dinner party scene.
John.
Yeah.
You did such a good job, man. It was just so cool.
I've got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
that glass you have. How did you feel after drinking all that?
Yeah. So the glass. So this is all funny, and this is all part of this planning thing. We actually went with our. I called my gal that decorated our wedding for those tall vases that you saw these flowers in. And my question was simple: where can I find two to buy? And she goes, "Why don't you just rent them from me?" That morphed into, "I want to help you decorate this whole thing." So
Nice.
that ornate table and all of that was all her. So shout out to Accents Event Design because Chris and her mom are amazing. They were great to work with. They brought custom chairs. They brought in pieces of furniture from her mom's house to help furnish some of this. And so having all of this come together was absolutely insane. The venue we shot it at was also the venue of the wedding last year. And that happened very last minute because our original venue fell through. And so when you're coordinating the schedules of a whole table of people, plus your directors and film people, plus your photographers, I had 2 photographers taking stills, and all of this craziness. I mean, this was like, it just happened. It was meant to be. It was a wonderful experience. Tom, as you can see, had a blast, and Tom, there's a lot of B-roll where Tom is like, "Greetings, Dark Lord," and all this stuff. So I am totally doing a blooper reel in the future and releasing the behind the scenes stuff. I kind of want to do something like a year from now talking about the production of the whole thing, because it actually is very interesting. There's a second part of that introduction too that I opened up last night's episode with, where I'm at the comic shop and making comic books float and stuff. So definitely check that out. It's like in the first like 5 minutes or so of the video. But that was a lot of fun too. So yeah,
it was awesome, John.
It was a lot.
That was awesome.
And having it come together to me is meaningful only because it wasn't just me, right? I mean, I'm the idea guy, but there's so many people that contributed to this, and not to mention the support. But getting out there, doing something by myself. I've been streaming with Tom for over 12 years, and I very, very rarely do streams by myself. It was a jump for me. I'm glad I did it because it was kind of one of those like, okay, I got this, and I'm already excited for next week just because I get to read cool books. So
yeah, man, I'm excited for next week. It's like I'm way more excited to watch John stream next week than do a comic book look next week. So I hate to say it, but I am, because I'm just so hyped for these next books. And then he's like, even though these books are from 1969, he wouldn't fucking spoil it for me. So now I have to go find that book and I have to read it because it was like he got me so invested in it. Of course, I love how you're doing it, John. Do not change because of my mean comments. I love it so much. And, I'm so excited.
Yeah, but and the guys know here too, Chad, that now that we know how the video and stuff works in StreamYard, it's actually quite easy. We are definitely looking at doing some branding push for a comic book look too, and doing like a choose your player vibe with because there's 4 of us, kind of fighting game stuff.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And I am in talks right now. We have a awesome customer at Rainbow, Levi, who's in a synth rock band, who is interested in maybe helping us out with a theme song, which is super dope. So
amazing.
Yeah, so more to come on that. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I just want to make sure the next couple of weeks I bring that same quality product. I'm so passionate about this, and just want to make sure I do a good job. Rep the team, and so yeah.
Well,
but
I didn't get to see it, but man, watching that video, I'm hooked now. Like I gotta now go back and watch that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so it's on Facebook and Twitter right now. By the way, fun fact: if you're looking at starting a YouTube stream, set up your YouTube stream in advance, like not 24 hours, because they do a 24-hour block.
God, I didn't want to, because I assumed. So this is how it happened too last night, John. I'm watching the Screams from the Basement live stream on YouTube, and chatting or whatever. They're hyping you up. They're like, "Hey, it's starting at 8:00." So I'm like, on their comments being like, "It actually starts at 9. Everybody has an hour." And then in that hour, I am just on YouTube searching Comics by Night every single way that I can, and I just cannot freaking find it. And I'm going through. There's not a channel called it. It's like it's got to be there. I'm seeing comics like _night 3245. I'm like, I know this isn't it. and then went on to Facebook to watch it, and that's how I watched it, of course. But I was thinking, I was like, shit, you know what? John's just saying, like, screw YouTube. I guess I'm not gonna do it. But
you know, it makes sense. Yeah, no. So that's what happened with that. So don't be a me. And if you're starting a stream, just make sure you have your ducks in a row, because I clearly did not, and I feel terrible about that. I actually will be able to upload the replay here probably in another hour or so, because it had that block on there. But I'll pull the file from StreamYard and upload it. The future ones will be live on YouTube to answer that. But so that's that. And
amazing, John. It's just it's a new era for a comic book look with Comics by Night being out, and so yeah, man, you know, me and Mark are just super hyped for you, dude.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Yep. And I can't wait for the episode where I rock my slime mug from Starbucks. So excited. But yeah, that's about all the news from my side. But
yeah, man, that's called a good episode, is what that's called. We learn about Chad. We get this amazing story about selling online and going to conventions and putting this all together. We got a sick new stream. We got awesome Halloween comics. Johnny, that's a good episode, baby.
We did it. Epic. We did the things. Epic. Well, Chad, before we shut it down, where can folks find you and connect with you on?
You can find me at Magzanito on Facebook, and I also am on TikTok.
Oh.
You can find me at Chad Brandenburg or Magzanito. So I have two. One I do some funny stuff on, and I do taste testing and dance a little. So if you enjoy that, and then the other, I basically show comic books and new things that I'm getting in, and yeah, that's how you can find me, though.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Well, awesome. Well, thank you again so much for just taking time to be on the show tonight. I know you're a busy guy, and it was just so fun meeting you and then getting to see you again at SuperCon. I was like total Midwest small world syndrome right here.
Right. Well, I appreciate you guys inviting me. So hopefully I'll be able to come back another time.
You're always welcome. Yeah, man. Yeah, always welcome. Awesome. Hands down. Well, cool. Before I wrap it up, Mark, Tom, anything you guys wanted to lift up?
Got a zombie walk I'm going to Friday. I'm not going to actually be in the zombie walk, just going to spectate, but it's going to be really cool. It's like a huge Halloween event down at the park for Friday the 13th. So lots of vendors there, big parties. So I'm looking forward to that.
I heard you were signing epic prints of yourself or something. Like you had a table set up, Mark from a comic book look. Is that true?
Hey.
Wow. Mark from a comic book look.
Whoa.
Everybody's going to be like, where's John and Tom at? I thought they were going to be here.
Oh, man. Well, awesome. Well, great episode tonight, you guys. Chad, thank you again so much for your time. Per a Comic Book Look tradition, we are a Comic Book Look proudly sponsored by Rainbow Comics. So if you're in Sioux Falls, stop on by to 42nd and Minnesota Avenue, ideally between Wednesday and Saturday, because that's when I work, and you'll see Sam there as well, who couldn't be here tonight. And if you're in the Lincoln, Nebraska area, stop by Rainbow Comics down there. Say hi to Taylor and team. I'm happy to help you out with those comic book needs. Big shout out tonight, though, to Ground Zero Hobby in Ralston and Bellevue. Just great humans like Chad that work there, and just friendly staff, great product. And that's what I look for when I'm in customer mode. And I love it, love it, love it. And, even Chad, jumping in to help your customer with the barcode formula and stuff, I was just like, oh, I got you. I could talk your ear off. And so I was like, I was hitting up one of their customers, dropping comic book wisdom.
He was.
Because it was a mom and dad picking up for their kiddo who normally buys comics. So it was just so great. It's fun. But anyways, we are a Comic Book Look again collectively on the socials at @ a Comic Book Look, or just follow Tom and I using the @ signs in our little names here @ John on Demand, @ Tom Stu Divine, @ Mark C Shelton 1 on most platforms, but I always get that wrong, so we'll just go with that. See
on Twitter.
Yep, absolutely. And then again with Chad, Megs, and Nito, get familiar, you guys. Chad will be back. If he wants to hang out with us, we would love to have him back.
Heck yeah.
We always do a couple of fun theme shows and so forth, so we'll definitely keep you in the loop on that. But ending an episode in a Comic Book Look fashion, I say keep it comics, but then I kick it over to Mark to say,
bagging and boarding's never boring.
Boom. And then we hit the end button. We'll see you guys next time.